We're starting this edition with our top focus. The union government began granting citizenship under the CAA to applicants in West Bengal, Haryana and Uttarakhand. The Union Ministry of Home Affairs has said that the applicants were granted citizenship by their respective state-empowered committees. Well, on May 15, the centre had granted the first set of citizenship certificates to 14 applicants in New Delhi. This was just 2 months after the MHA had notified the rules for implementation of the Citizenship Amendment Act. Well, the CAA, which was enacted in December 2019, provides a pathway to Indian citizenship for persecuted Hindus, Sikhs, Jain, Buddhist, Parsi and Christian migrants from Bangladesh, Pakistan and Afghanistan who had arrived in India on or before December 31st, 2014. Well, the law is intended to offer protection and legal status to these minority groups who face religious persecution in their home countries. And now that is the latest coming in. The union government has given citizenship under the CAA to applicants in these 3 states, that is West Bengal, Haryana and Uttarakhand. My colleague Ishwarya also now joins us on the broadcast, getting us more on that. Well, Ishwarya, despite objections raised by the Bengal government and reservation expressed by Mamata Banerjee herself, the process seems to have started in West Bengal as well, along with Haryana and Uttarakhand now.
Well, certainly many were saying that this is ahead of the elections and the government wanted to grab as many as eyeballs in such states, but it was, remember, West Bengal government and Mamata Banerjee particularly, who opposed the CAA and stated that it would not be implemented in their states, but the work had begun. In fact, the government of India, remember, on May 15th, handed over the first set of citizen certificates after notification of the Citizen Amendment Rules 2024 were granted by the Empowered Committee in Delhi, and that was done by Union Home Secretary, as we are witnessing these visuals of the national capital. But today it was West Bengal, Uttarakhand and Haryana where the Empowered Committee of the states have granted citizen today to the first set of applicants in their respective states under the Citizen Amendment Rules 2024. Remember, it was the government of India who notified the Citizen Rule 2024 on 11th of on 11th March 2024, and the rules clearly stated that the manner of application form and procedure for processing application will be done by district level committee, and that was done.
Right.
Certainly 3 states now.
Right.
It is West Bengal, Uttarakhand and Haryana, and Delhi already have given first set of the certificates. So,
Yes.
the next few states will be in line as far as the Union Home Ministry is concerned.
All right. Thank you so much, Ishwarya, for getting us all those details there. Well, that is the latest coming in. We'll keep an eye on the developments there. Meanwhile, shifting our focus now to the Pune car crash case. The Women and Child Development Department in Maharashtra constituted a committee to investigate the members of the JJB. The investigation committee will prepare the report within a week, and the report is to be submitted to the High Court and the state government. Well, we're learning now Pune Crime Branch has also seized the 3rd vehicle in the Pune Porsche crash case. It's the same Kia brand vehicle in which the minor accused father had fled to Aurangabad. Well, Vishal Agrawal was caught in Aurangabad in this vehicle, and now this vehicle has also been seized. More information now coming in, more details that we're learning of about the incident and how there was a cover-up in order to save the juvenile in the case. About 20 FaceTime calls and 1 a normal call was made between Dr. Ajay Tavre and the father of the accused, Vishal Agrawal. We're learning the two had talked several times, 2 hours after the accident had taken place. Let's take a look at the reactions first coming in.
मिस्टर पटोले, पुणे केस बहुत ही कॉम्प्लेक्स हो रहा है. आपने बहुत सारे एलिगेशंस लगाए हैं. आपने कहा कि देयर इज पॉलिटिकल इंटरफेरेंस. कैन यू एलैबोरेट?
आपने देखा होगा कि वो सापड़े कमेटी उनने बनाई, तो डॉक्टर सापड़े के ऊपर कितने चार्जेस है वो भी थोड़ा जांच कर लीजिएगा. और इसलिए हमने कहा कि जिस तरह से ड्रग माफिया को, अनाधिकृत पब को जो पुलिस और सरकार का जो सपोर्ट है वो स्पष्ट होता है. जहाँ पर ब्लड का नमूना भी बदल दिया गया, ये भी उसमें एक बात स्पष्ट हो चुकी है. तो सरकार का कितना दबाव प्रशासन पे एकदम स्पष्ट है, और मुझे लगता है कि सरकार छुपा रही है, वास्तविकता छुपा रही है. और इसलिए हमारी मांग है कि इसमें सीबीआई की जांच हो।
जी, लेकिन आपने एक एमएलए के बारे में बोला, एमएलए के बेटे के बारे में भी बोला कि वो पैसेंजर सीट में थे, तो उसके बारे में आप बताइए।
बिल्कुल, आपको हमने कहा है कि उसमें क्योंकि अभी तक जो लोग गाड़ी में थे उनके नाम सामने नहीं आए। क्यों नहीं आए? तो कुछ ना कुछ दाल में काला है।
एक्शन शुरू हो चुकी है और आप एक्शन देखते हो। अग्रवाल परिवार के जो भी इन्वॉल्व थे, फिर जिसने करप्ट बिहेवियर किया, किसी को बख्शा नहीं जा रहा है। देखना यह है कि सिस्टम गए कुछ सालों में इतनी करप्ट हो चुकी है, लेकिन इसमें जिनका भी रोल है, फिर उसमें अगर कोई पॉलिटिशियन भी इन्वॉल्व पाया जाएगा तो उसको भी बख्शा नहीं जाएगा और जिनके कारण ये हुआ है उसको कड़ी से कड़ी सजा होगी।
आमदार सुनील टिंगरे यांनी ते पत्र दिलेलं होतं। काय पत्रामध्ये ते पत्र डिटेल मला नाही, त्याच्यावरती सांगतो की त्या पत्रावरती आमचे मंत्री महोदयांनी लिहिलेलं होतं अधिष्ठाता यांना।
Well, my colleague Sujata also joins us on the broadcast, getting us more on that. Sujata, well, even as the Congress is asking for a CBI probe and has said that there is an NCP MLA also who's involved in the case, there are more details now that have come out. We are learning the Maharashtra government has already set up a panel which is going to investigate the conduct of the JJP. How the juvenile was given bail within 15 hours of the accident. He was allowed to walk free. Well, the investigation committee, we are learning, are going to prepare this report and are going to be submitting this report in a week's time. And also more details about the calls that were made between the father of the juvenile as well as the doctor concerned here.
Well, certainly, and also, summing up all the developments that we saw today, there were actions, by the Pune Crime Branch and also from the authorities of the Sassoon Hospital, where the dean was sent on a compulsory leave, as well as the 2 doctors who were arrested and 1 peon. They were also, suspended from their particular roles that they were posted upon. Apart from that, today morning, the Maharashtra government did form up a committee of 5 members, where they did state that the important requirements of the committee is to investigate the overall, understanding of why was the court opened, the Juvenile Justice Board working on a Sunday, and also after examining the overall CCTV footage to understand that what exactly transpired and on what grounds did the 3 members of the board give up and bail within 15 hours of the accident to the juvenile, which becomes an important aspect of interrogation for this committee to understand. Apart from that, the committee which was formed for the Sassoon Hospital investigation, which was led by Dr. Pallavi Saple, she did submit a final report to the Maharashtra government, after which it was decided that the doctors will be suspended from their respective posts. At present, for tomorrow, we see that the police custody of all the 3 accused from the hospitals will be ending, for which all of them were brought here at the Pune Crime Branch, where interrogation was done, and also, there were questioning done on what exactly transpired. For like you just mentioned, that there were phone calls that were made on the night of 19th May, where it was the father of the juvenile who did make up calls to Dr. Ajay Tavre, who was the head of the forensic department then, and there were around more than 20 calls made via FaceTime, as well as 1 single call that was made via normal call, which was done for him to ensure that the samples were changed, and which eventually wouldn't lead his son in a mess.
Well, of course, all these details now that have come out point to how how efforts were made to cover up this entire incident and protect the juvenile in the case. Thank you so much, Sujata, for getting us all those details. We also listen into what Devendra Fadnavis said on this case. Listen in.
पूना में जो घटना घटी है, उसके बाद मैंने तुरंत जाकर वहां बैठक की थी और उस समय मैंने कहा था हम किसी को छोड़ेंगे नहीं और लगातार इसके तह तक हम जा रहे हैं। हर व्यक्ति का नकाब उतारने का काम यहाँ पर हो रहा है। जो थोड़ा भी लिप्त है, थोड़ा भी संलग्नित है, ऐसे सभी को हम लोग उनके ऊपर कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं। किसी को हम छोड़ेंगे नहीं। ये बात अलग है कि कुछ लोग इसके आड़े किसी और के कंधे पर बंदूक रख के किसी और पर निशाना चलाना चाहते, इसका राजनीतिकरण करना चाहते, उनका भी पर्दाफाश होगा। और जो लोग इसमें रत्ती भर भी लिप्त है, ऐसे सभी लोगों को हिसाब देना पड़ेगा।
Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister assuring swift justice in the case. Meanwhile, some more news now that we're tracking amid the extreme heat wave conditions in North India. The highest temperature in Delhi was recorded at 52 degrees Celsius in Delhi's Mungeshpur. But is it really 52 degrees in Delhi? Because the IMD chief has said that we are probing the Delhi temperature readings, and also Union Minister Kiran Rijiju has said that Delhi hitting 52 degrees Celsius is quite unlikely, and the IMD is examining the data and sensors at this point in time. My colleague Himanshu also joins us on the broadcast here, getting us more on that. Well, Himanshu, there seems to be some confusion, or we would say, as Union Minister Kiran Rijiju here is saying that it's quite unlikely that the national capital would hit 52 degrees Celsius. And the IMD, we are learning at the moment, is examining the sensors and data at this point in time.
That's right. See, first, the data for Mungeshpur was uploaded around, I think, 3:30. Because normally, you know, the Met Department updates data on different locations, weather stations in Delhi every 3 hours. And it stayed for almost 3-4 hours that Mungeshpur actually has reported more than 52 degrees Celsius maximum temperature around 2:30 p.m. And we did report that. And now an important statement has been issued by IMD, which has been tweeted by the Union Minister for Earth Sciences, Kiran Rijiju, in which he says, and I quote, Mungeshpur reported 52.9 degrees Celsius as an outlier compared to other stations. It could be due to an error in the sensor or the local factors. IMD is examining the data and sensors. So clearly, the IMD management has actually decided to take a fresh look as to how a weather station can actually report as higher temperature as 52.9 degrees Celsius during the day.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you so much, Himanshu, for getting us those details there. Well, we'll keep an eye on the developments here and get you more. Meanwhile, shifting our focus now to Northeast India, where Cyclone Remal triggered heavy rainstorms and landslides that resulted over 40 deaths in Northeast India yesterday. Today, many parts of the region are facing flash floods with rising water levels on rivers and threats of inundation of fresh areas and concerns of more loss of lives and properties. My colleague Ratnadeep Chaudhary gets us more.
After the post-cyclone havoc on Tuesday, more deaths reported today, taking the total number of deaths in the northeast due to landslides and heavy rains in the past 2 days to at least 35. Today, in a tragic incident, a Class 1 student was killed and 10 others injured after their auto rickshaw met with an accident due to the storm at Bilasipara in Assam's Dhubri district. After yesterday's very heavy rainfall in Guwahati, today there was a bit of respite, but yet in Lal Ganesh locality of the city, this guard wall fell down on this bamboo hut where a poor family is to live. The father had gone out for work and the mother was in the kitchen, but a 2.5-year-old girl child was there and she unfortunately lost her life.
हम लोग आया है, आदमी बहुत सारा आदमी आया है, आके इसको पिलर उलर जितना वो ईटा वगैरह सब कुछ है ये सब हटाया है. उसका बाद तो बच्चा को निकला है. बच्चा निकलने के बाद तो हायत हॉस्पिटल में लेके गया है. उसमें डॉक्टर बताया डेड हो गया है.
Many parts of Assam are facing flash floods. The Kopili river is in spate after water was released from a hydroelectric project upstream, inundating several areas in Hojai and Kanpur. In southern Assam's Karimganj, flash floods occurred after Singla and Longai rivers burst their banks.
पहले 2 दिन से बहुत बारिश हो रहा है हमारा सब इलाका में, और ये बारिश का कारण जो मिजोरम का जो बारिश आता है हमारे यहाँ डाउन में आता है, इसका वजह से बहुत सारा बांध यहाँ पे जो कोचुबारी में पानी बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब ओवरफ्लो कर रहा है.
In Mizoram, search operation continue for over a dozen people missing after several landslides around capital Aizawl. In neighbouring Manipur, as extremely heavy rains have swept through the area, causing flash flood in the Kankopi district as well as in Imphal valley. Major rivers like the Imphal and Nambol have breached their banks due to the continuous rainfall, flooding roads, homes and government offices. Schools have been instructed to remain closed until May 31st. Many parts of Tripura are submerged, with 446 houses destroyed and power supply disrupted. Chief Minister Dr. Manik Saha has assured prompt action.
लास्ट ईयर भी ऐसा ही सिचुएशन हुआ था, लेकिन उस हिसाब से अभी बांध का काम भी बहुत अच्छा हुआ पहले से, इससे काफ़ी हद तक पहले से कम है यहाँ पर। तो अभी सबसे मिले हैं और इन लोगों का जो माने डेंजर एरिया में है उनको लाने का भी हम लोग व्यवस्था किए हैं, खाना पीना जो भी है उनको कर रहे हैं।
The Met Department has predicted that low-intensity rain will continue in northeast for now. With camera person Sanjay Chakravarti in Guwahati, Ratndeep Chaudhary for NDTV.
Welcome back after the break. With 3 more days to go for the final phase of polling in Orissa on June 1st, the Election Commission of India suspended IPS officer DS Kute and ordered the medical examination of another police service officer, Ashish Singh, who is on leave. The BJD has hit back at the Election Commissioner's decision. Take a look at this report.
2 officials who work closely with Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik facing Election Commission action. In its order against the officers, the poll panel said 1997 batch IPS officer DS Kute, who is presently working as the Special Secretary to the Chief Minister, be placed under suspension on the charge of interfering in the conduct of election. It also ordered that IPS officer of the 2010 batch, presently working as IGCM Security, who has been on medical leave since May 4th, should present himself for a detailed examination by a special medical board constituted by Director, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Bhubaneswar, before May 30, 2024.
जो पदक्षेपटी इलेक्शन कमिशन ऑफ इंडिया नहीं चंती 2 जन वरिष्ठ पुलिस अधिकारी विरुद्ध रे एवं श्रृंखलागत कार्यानुष्ठान बोली कहिबा एभली भारत वर्ष रे अन्य कौन सी राज्य रे विगत 30 वर्ष भितर निया जाई नहीं.
The ruling BJD in Odisha hit out, saying this was a BJP ploy.
I would say that those 2 officers are 2 of the outstanding officers of Odisha, and both of them have played a great role in controlling Naxalism in Odisha, risking their lives. Whether it is Gajapati or Malkangiri, I think they have been awarded by the highest authorities in the country for their commitment, dedication, sacrifice. This is very unfortunate, and it is as per the design of Bharatiya Janata Party, which cannot digest imminent defeat in the hands of Biju Janata Dal, and it cannot stand against the popularity of Naveen Babu and his sway over the people of Odisha.
Odisha has both Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha elections simultaneously, and the BJP and BJD are locked in a bitter contest. The BJD has said Naveen Patnaik will be elected for a fresh term as the BJP attempts to unseat one of India's longest serving chief ministers. An NDTV Bureau Report.
All right, now some news from Telangana. From keeping tabs illegally on activities of political opponents to High Court judges using controversial information to arm twist or blackmail, it would seem BRS chief KCR had used all means to stay entrenched in power in Telangana. Well, this is going by the confessions of those who've been arrested in the phone tapping case here. But now it seems that key evidence also may have been destroyed. My colleague Uma Sudhir gets us more.
Former Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao did all he could to hold on to political power and protect his family. That is what former police officers he had handpicked to work for him and were arrested in the Telangana phone tapping case have claimed in their confessional statements to the police. The most sensational claim is by former DCP Radhakishan Rao, who says KCR wanted BJP National Secretary B.L. Santosh arrested, and towards that he had ordered an elaborate setup of spy cameras at a farmhouse in Moinabad in order to entrap some alleged mediators who were said to be trying to poach BRS MLAs on behalf of the BJP. This, he claims, was to help KCR leverage on behalf of his daughter K. Kavita, who faced trouble from the Enforcement Directorate.
Over a period of time, it has been proved that how the phone tapping has been used by BRS to tap Santosh Ji's phone. Now with this, what comes very evident is, this is how in Telangana, whoever is being chosen as the party to win, how they are misusing a system.
The arrested former policemen have said political opponents were put under surveillance and there is targeted seizure of funds meant for opposition candidates before assembly, parliament elections and even by-polls like in Munugod. Former DSP Bhujang Rao has even named a High Court Judge Sarath Kaja and said High Court judges, lawyers handling important cases, caste and student union leaders were all put under surveillance so that personal information collected could be used to influence or counter at appropriate times. In Hyderabad with camera person Nagaraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Well, with that, it's time for a short break here. More on the other side. Stay tuned.